Hello, everybody. It's Darrell on LegacyMaker Sports Network. And guess what? It is almost time for episode 2 of Green and Gold Over Everything. We're ready to bring you everything today because you know what? We had a very exciting week 1 for Packer Nation out there. And so now we're going to have a chance to get a little bit in the week 2, recap the game next week. I got 2 special guests coming on with me for this one. I'm super excited. Let's go ahead and get this bad boy started. There's no need to keep on talking about it. Let's go. Green and gold over everything. Too long. I don't care. That's my thing. Look, here's the thing for all the Packers fans out there. Hey, why not go ahead and embrace the greatness of the Green Bay Packer history? I'm your man Darrell on LegacyMaker Sports Network, and this is Green and Gold Over Everything, episode number 2, as we head into week 2 of the NFL season. Now, today, we got a couple things we're going to go over. We got to talk, obviously, about the game in Chicago. A very good week for Green Bay fans out there. It's always nice to go into Chicago and get another dub. So I know Chicago fans, sorry, my man Raphael Haynes at the 3-point conversion. Sorry, brother, but hey, it is what it is. We're friends again after after the past week. But with all that being said, we're going to get into that. We got a recap coming. My man James Brown on the LegacyMaker Sports Network will be coming by as we preview Falcons and Packers for this weekend. But before I get into all that, I got to introduce my guy, man. Like, look, we've been friends for a long time on Facebook, and this is going to be a funny story, but tonight is the first time we get a chance to physically see each other on a face-to-face basis, but I'm excited because it's my brother, and we talk almost every single day, and we always talk about Packers football. So it is my honor to bring my guy, Mr. Randell Burns, to bring him in to Green and Gold Over Everything. Randell, how are you doing, brother?
I feel like, and we love wrestling. I feel like
Yep.
I finally got the call up from NXT to the main roster. Like, I made it.
You made it.
I made it out the group chat to the live show.
And it's funny because we've talked about this show probably for at least 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
And
through Sutton, and then he got the DTSM podcast.
Great show.
And we've just always talked about it and just timing, life, and you running a network. You not like, I got a podcast, one show. You got shows to juggle. You got people to manage. So I get it, but I feel like this is the timing is just right with the change in the franchise. And just not to go off too much of a tangent, but I was thinking about this when I was driving today. When Aaron took over from Brett, I don't think any of us really knew what we know about sports today.
Right.
Like all the information with the contracts, what's going on behind the scenes, regime changes. But now, like, we're at our age, we know more about sports than we've ever known. So we really get to see the foundation being built of an entirely new Packer franchise. And I'm excited.
Yeah.
I'm really excited for this youth movement.
And that's the thing for me. Like I will say a couple years back, looking into it, I said, man, what are they doing here? Why are we drafting quarterback? But I'm also like, we lived through the first time. So we knew what was eventually going to come. I think Aaron knew the same thing, that it was going to happen at some point. What I will always commend Aaron on is that I felt like he did a really good job of embracing Jordan. Even though it may seem like at times like they may have had beef, like I guess on the outside part, it never showed. Him and Brett showed. It showed that there was some hate, or there was at least some animosity there. Aaron never did that. Aaron obviously had his, his quarrels. He wanted, I'm the guy here. I want to retire here, which I have no problem with that.
Yep.
But he never disrespected Jordan, in my opinion. They're real good friends. He texted him before the game. That's just something he didn't get. And I can always appreciate Aaron for giving Jordan that. And look, after this weekend, I'm just like, okay, thank you, A-Rod.
Yeah, I saw a report. I guess he texted him the night before the game, and I'm like, that's such a big brother move,
right?
And also, like, do you remember when the reports came out that Aaron was insistent on the Packers retiring Favre's number, making sure he felt welcome? And I think Aaron is passing on that, like, okay, this is your franchise now,
right?
So now you have to do all those things, but at the same time, you got to do it your way. And I hope that Jordan will reciprocate that. Like, well, I hope Jordan is still the quarterback 15 years from now, and he has to mentor his, guy. But at the same time, he's the one that reaches out to Aaron whenever it's all said and done. It's like, okay, now, time to come home. Let's put that number 12 up in the rafters.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing to see. And, it's week one, and we're not trying to overthink it, but we are very excited about what we saw. Speaking of that, let's go and talk about what happened on Sunday, because the Green Bay Packers 38-20 over the Chicago Bears in Soldier Field. And a lot of people came into this game, and I was hearing everything. Justin Fields is going to show off, and this and that, and I'm not going to lie to you. Mentally, I thought that way myself. I'm like, it's going to be
too.
It's going to be a different. It's going to be a different thing coming around here. We got something different happening. But even with all that said, it started off a little slow, and I said to myself, man, what is this about to be? But great job by the Packers. Before we get into players and, how we thought they played, what were your overall thoughts of the game?
I don't think I've ever been as nervous for a start. With the last time I was that nervous was that Tampa Bay playoff game. And I think it's the conditioning of social media now where everything is going to be dissected. And I worry about, what's going to come Jordan's way. So every time he dropped back, and I'm like, oh no, he's going to throw the ball. This man's going to throw the ball. And I was getting nervous. And I was happy to see that they called a good game for him. They ran the heck out of the ball. They gave him a lot of easy throws. LaFleur scared the hell out of me with that triple option.
Yeah, I don't know. I was like, and then here's the thing: I'm driving back from FedEx. For those who maybe listening to the show, I cover the Commanders games, and yes, I cover the Commanders as a sports media journalist. Okay, I'm allowed to have a little bit. But anyway, it's a job. It's my job. But even without that being said, I was driving up the road, tablet in the passenger side, watching NFL Red Zone, which I probably shouldn't admit on the air, but I'm watching NFL Red Zone, but I'm listening to it mostly, but it's playing on the tablet, and I'm sitting there like, what are you doing? But I was very pleased overall with the way the game was called.
I absolutely. And we'd been hearing everything throughout the summer, like we're finally going to see LaFleur's offense. And I noticed whenever they brought it up, he'd be like, it's everybody's offense. And then God bless Mark Murphy, because he always, I think he's drinking, because he always let something slip. And he said it at the shareholders meeting. So for those that don't know, the Packers have a shareholders meeting every summer because, as the fans own the team.
Right.
And he said it. He goes, we're finally going to see Matt LaFleur's offense. And I know Matt was like, come on, man, don't say that. Basically admitting it was Aaron's show, but we got to see Matt LaFleur's offense. And it looked a lot like what we see from the 49ers.
Right.
Stuff, you're going to throw the ball over the middle. You're going to let the guys make the plays after the catch. And a lot of run. My only issue, because I think Matt called a good game, but there were way too many carries that went to A.J. Dillon. Way too many carries. I get it. You want to preserve Aaron Jones, but I think he got the ball that first drive, and we didn't see him till, was it the second half?
Yeah,
Or
I think
at
it was
least
like
it felt
in the
like
second.
that.
At least it felt that way. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but I think it was a really good game overall. If I had to grade it, I'd say it was like a B.
Yeah, it's a strong B. I'd say
Yeah.
I would give it a B plus. I don't want to give it an
Yeah.
A because I don't want to give it an A just yet because it's still it's a work in progress. You know, there were some things I felt that could have been a little bit better, but overall, like for me, you know, getting a chance to see Jordan be comfortable, like, you know, and just being, you know, commanding the offense. That was my biggest key last week, is keeping him confident. And he was. And with that being said, I'm gonna go a little bit into the players, my players, and I'm gonna let Randall obviously give his of who he thought was doing real. But these are the 5 guys that I thought had really good games, and probably the most obvious. But anyway, first, I you know, we got Jordan Love. Jordan Love, great day. 245 yards, you know, passing. That says rushing. Don't pay no attention to that. It should have been 245 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, a 123.2 quarterback rating. Biggest thing Packers want to know. But you watched him, and the confidence level was just screaming from him after the game. Now I'm going to play this clip of him after the game, and just you can hear the maturity. He was talking to Aaron Andrews. This is from Fox Sports, courtesy of Fox Sports and NFL. But just take a listen to how Jordan Love sounds after the game, and it doesn't sound cocky. Doesn't seem like he's trying to do anything extra. He's just glad that he's getting his opportunity.
Well, before we came on camera, Rashawn Gary screaming at the top of his lungs, he's that man. Stop playing with him. Listen, it's never easy to follow that man, a future Hall of Fame quarterback. But Jordan, you come to Chicago, you throw for 3 touchdowns. At the half, your head coach is saying you are beyond poised. How would you assess your performance today?
You know, I'm always very critical myself. So it was a great game. You know, we got the win. That's exactly what we wanted. Great team showing. Came out and did what we needed to do, and showed the world what we're about. So.
Well, you can't be too critical on how you were on 3rd and 4th downs, Jordan. You were unbelievable. What was working for you?
Yeah, I mean, the pass game. You know, we're setting it up with the run, and then we'd get to 3rd and short, and that was our bread and butter. We were just taking advantage of what they were doing, and receivers make plays out there.
I'll tell you who was having a good time today watching you, your mom. We gave you a hard time this week about her seats in Kansas City. She got a lot better seats. You were right about that. She had great emotion. Can you even imagine what she was going through up there watching you?
No, she's having a blast up there. She's just very supportive of me. Comes to every game, and you know, I love to see that. She really just shows how much, you know, she loves me, loves our family, and supports us. And it's just awesome to see her up there supporting me in the game.
You know who else is supporting you? Packer Nation behind me. Go enjoy that. Congrats, Jordan.
Thank you. See you.
That's Jordan after the game, humble. I didn't see anything that gave me I don't know. It just gave me comfort. What were your thoughts just in Jordan Love's performance overall?
And I think it's something that we've been talking about. When I say we have a group chat. It's only 3 of us, but it's 3 diehard Packer fans. And it's something we've said from the first preseason game. This young man looks like a completely different quarterback. He looks confident. He looks poised. He doesn't look rattled. Granted, he only got sacked once. There were times the pass rush wasn't great that he faced, but you were still an NFL quarterback in a live game in the stadium of, I would say, our biggest rival. And he looked I texted you, I said, he got ice in his veins.
Yep.
This dude is cool, calm, collected. The ball went where it was supposed to go, even though when he missed, and there's something I'm starting to notice with him. If he misses, he tends to miss high, and it's usually when he doesn't get his back foot set. But the ball goes where it's supposed to go. He goes through the progressions really well, and that was something a lot of the scouts knocked him when he came out. They didn't think he was a good processor of what he was seeing. Not so. Not anymore.
Yeah.
You know, it's going to be different when the blitz starts coming at him. But from what I've seen, man, this is a completely different dude.
Yeah, it's like night and day from the Kansas City game. I know we got like a little small sample size in Philadelphia last year. I know we talk about it all the time, but the difference in the difference in player in 2 years it's amazing to me. Like those years of sitting behind Aaron have really paid off, and you can see it. And I'm sitting back and watching this like, wow. But I had somebody today in my fantasy league, Darrell, I see you got Jordan Love sitting on the bench. You ain't trying to no, not at all, sir. I said I knew what I was doing, and he's gonna sit right there until it's time. When I get comfortable and I know he's doing this consistently, that's when he'll go in the starting lineup. But until then, he's mine. You're gonna have to give me your whole team to get Jordan Love right now.
I want to interject something. Have you heard the story of his upbringing?
No, not at all.
So I used to always wonder, like, yo, where's this dude's pops at? And not like in a mean casual way, just trying to figure out. And pretty much when he was about maybe, I want to say his early teens, his dad dropped him off at his either a basketball game or practice. And I want to say, I think he had a heart attack or something on his driving, and he passed away.
Wow.
And they said, the coach, the team and everybody, we got to rally around him. We got to take care of him. They wrote his mom, said, look, if you don't want to come to practice next day, he don't got to come. They said he was the first person at the gym. And he's pretty much just had this mentality because his dad was like just like a tough guy that really just instilled discipline, that you need to be the first person in the gym. You need to be the last person to leave. You need to be responsible. And they said that's just always been his makeup. Like, it kind of forced him to grow up a bit more. But he really took to heart, like, okay, my dad is going to let me try to live out those values he instilled in me. And he said that's where that calm demeanor comes from, that he's confident in himself because he kind of had to grow up quick.
Man, I had no clue that was the case. I thought about that at the game because they showed his mom.
Yeah.
And you can even tell when he was talking in that video, like you could tell like he wanted to cry, but you can see
there's emotion there.
You can see the emotion build up. So right there, man, hey, Jordan, we rooting for you, brother. You keep doing your thing. And once again, y'all, that's passing, not rushing. Y'all forgive him, brother.
He had 12 rushing yards.
Yeah. He had some rushing yards in there, but no, that was passing yards on there. Next player to talk about, Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones, once again, being that security blanket that the Packers need. The numbers don't look sexy per se. I mean, 9 carries, 41 yards. The 2 receptions for 86. Obviously, the option play that was it was out the not the option play, but the cross the field, the live bad boy that they threw across. And Aaron Jones is Aaron Jones. I know we've had debates in our group chat about Aaron Jones and if we should get rid of him. I will be one person that says that it should never happen. That he should, as long as he wants to be a Green Bay Packer, he should be a Green Bay Packer. He, to me, shows what a Green Bay Packer is all about. And with that being said, once again, he carried the day. Yes, Jordan had a great game, but offensively, I felt like without him doing what he did, and at those time frames, that it could have been a completely different game.
I will take the blame because it was me saying that we should have let him walk when it was time to re-sign that contract, and I look foolish right now. If for those I'm new here, I have a very business Bill Belichickian way of looking at football teams, especially with the Packers. It's team before everything. So if it's time to move on, it's generally time to move on. I thought it was. So I'm like, hey, we found him in the 5th. We can find another one. Nah, this dude is special. And I remember Mike McCarthy when they asked him, why don't you run Aaron Jones more? And he flat out said, he isn't the most durable, so I try to save him when I really need him. And we kind of saw that with the injury on that long run. I remember he missed a couple games last year. But man, this dude is special. This dude is, I mean, is it safe to say he's probably, in terms of Packer running backs, it's him and Ahman Green, right? And nobody else.
I mean, and if you're going old school, we'll throw Hornan in there, and then Jim Taylor. But
yeah,
it's hard because, like, especially the newer versions of Packer running backs, for at least we'll say 90s up, it's him and Ahman Green. Ahman Green has the all-time rushing yards for the Pack. But I mean, Aaron Jones has made so many special plays, and the big game against Dallas a few years ago with the 5 touchdowns. He's done great things. He's been quiet, and he's a team player because how many times have he taken pay cuts to make sure things will go? And he wants to stay in Green Bay.
He wants to stay here.
He wants to be here. I think it's because they took a chance on him. And so Aaron Jones, you the man. In my opinion, keep doing your thing.
Yeah.
Keep doing your thing. Next one on the offense before we head to defense. Of course, we got to talk about Dobbs, man. Romeo, word for out there, Romeo looks so good in this game, man. Like he came in on the injury report, and we're saying like, oh man, he's injured. We thought that Romeo and Christian Watson was going to be out. And so when Watson went down, I was like, okay, Watson is out. If Dobbs is also down, where do they turn? But Dobbs was able to play, and he gets 2 touchdowns. And now 4 receptions, 26 yards, but the 2 receiving touchdowns were big touchdowns. Like he made great plays. He made a great play on the second one, went up and grabbed it. And the second one, on the first one, he just kind of cut through, and it happened so fast. I was just like, oh, that's a touchdown. So what are your thoughts on Dobbs' first game in the Jordan Love era?
Let me go back though. It's my fault. It wasn't that his dad died in a car accident. They had changed his medication and he ended up taking his life.
Oh no.
That's what happened. So that's what happened. Like, yeah.
Man, that's crazy.
So yeah, I mean, that could just completely change the way your life goes. I mean, losing your dad is one thing, but losing it like that and then knowing it's because of the medication change,
insane.
But back to thoughts on Dobbs. And we talked about this too. Something that I didn't know about. Dobbs and Love have been practicing together since Dobbs has been in college,
and it shows.
It definitely shows.
It shows.
I was very excited when he got drafted because I saw what the hands were, and I remember we were upset. Like, why did we were upset at the Watson pick because I didn't know who he was. I heard a little bit about Dobbs, and it was a situation where smaller school, but that's what we do. We'll pack it. Hey, people get mad that we don't take somebody in the first round, but we will find you. Western Michigan with Greg Jennings. Was it UNLV for Devonte? No.
Fresno State.
Fresno.
Yeah.
We will find you after the first round. And it looked like we got a good one with this guy right here.
Yeah. I mean, they hit. I mean, look, Watson has done well as well. I mean, hopefully he'll be back this week. But, you look at the two guys, and the youngest offense in the league, but they look like they're having so much fun right now.
Yeah.
And I think that's the key part. They're having so much fun. And just imagine, and for those who don't know, our group chat name initially was Fire Murphy and maybe LaFleur. We were on the cusp of LaFleur. We wasn't sure yet.
We wanted a regime change.
We wanted a regime because we didn't know what was going on. But we changed that because I'm not gonna lie. You look at Goot and it feels like maybe a mad genius here.
Yeah,
low key. It didn't look that way in the beginning. It was like, what's going on? But if you look how confident and happy and just the energy on this young team, you said, wow, like maybe he had something cooking. So maybe he had something cooking.
He had said something early this offseason. They kept asking why he didn't bring in a vet, and he spoke back to the championship window they had when Ted was the GM and they won the ring. He was like, you have to create opportunity for growth. And they was like, well, what do you mean? He goes, I got to give these young dudes a chance to grow together. And he's like, I'm not going to be able to keep everybody, but certain guys turn into superstars. We have a new championship window and a new core. And you look at the team, how young they are everywhere. That's what he's doing.
Yeah. It's almost brilliant. And I'm not going to lie to you. I was one of the ones I'm like, I'm not 100% sure. But what I've seen lately has been nice. And speaking of that, we're going to go to the defensive side of the ball. His 2 picks from last year.
Oh, yeah.
Devonte Wyatt, which if you remember in the first episode, I said there's one person that's got to step up on that defensive line and got to help Kenny Clark. And that's Devonte Wyatt. And what a day. 3 tackles, 2 for loss, a sack and a half. I like what I saw from him, but that's what we were looking for. The Georgia, all of that Georgia talent that we kept drafting. We're still waiting for Stokes to make a return, and hopefully they'll be in the next couple of weeks. But you see this, and you say, okay, Wyatt is looking good. What were your thoughts on Wyatt's play during the game?
I was happy that they finally got Kenny some help, and the help showed up.
Thank goodness.
Because how many times we go in the game like, oh, Kenny got to do it by himself on that line.
Right. And
now you could move Kenny to where he should be. You got this big, you got Gilbert Brown Jr. right there. I'm happy, man. I'm excited with the play he's had. I'm excited that he's finally developing, and also too that Joe Barry's putting him in the game.
Yeah. Joe's still one I'm on the limb with. Well, you know how we feel about Joe, so like Joe's got to get his act together. But so far so good. We'll see. He hasn't done anything to disappoint me just yet. Very proud of what Wyatt has done. But let's talk about his teammate though, because his teammate decided, his Georgia teammate, national championship teammate, and obviously Packer teammate Quay Walker. Now last year, my man is infamous for running out of the tunnel and having the Friday moment. And so when it happened, I was just like, man, what is my guy doing? But not yesterday, but on Sunday, the 4 tackles, the interception run was impressive.
Oh, it's beautiful.
I mean, the maneuver, I was like, man, he looks like a big running
back.
Running back. He's like a big running back trying to make these moves, but that's also a difference I've seen in the defense ever since the last 4 games of last year. They just seem like they're working better together. Ever since the group chat, I guess they've been working well together. I mean, what are your thoughts on Quay's game on Sunday?
I want to speak to the belief that they have in him, because I didn't notice it till towards the end of the game. He's got the helmet with the green dot, so he's the one making all the defensive calls, not Campbell. And he's the linebacker when they go to nickel and there's only one linebacker on the field. So when I noticed that, I said, oh, you've taken a leap and they believe in you. Like, I still believe that Campbell is probably the guy that impressed. They're probably the guys they look to on defense to bring that leadership. But I can see by the end of the season that this is probably Quay Walker's defense. And he's turning into the guy that they felt he could be coming out of Georgia. I'm really impressed with the growth, the maturity. And he knew he had to make some changes after last season because he had, 2 ejections last year?
Yeah, the last one was the worst one. The last one was the worst one because when it happened, you're like, what my guy doing? I think I'll be honest with you though. I think that moment was probably the best moment for him.
Mm-hmm.
Like it happened on national TV. He got made fun of about it, and I think that to me helped motivate him, focused him going into this season. I'm like, getting publicly humiliated is not fun. And so, I feel like he's taken a leap in that form. So it was good to see. I was like, man, I was impressed. Like I told you, I was riding down the road. I'm looking on the side. I'm over here screaming on I-95 talking about you better run.
Yeah.
you better run.
And he was looking for contact.
Yeah.
He concussed himself. But you know what I think? And I don't know if this really happened, but you can't I know he's looking over at Philly like, dang, they got all my boys on the team.
Yeah.
I got to ball out over here. But what have we been saying in this group chat for years? Please go get us some SEC defensive players.
Yeah. And then we got 3 of them.
Some dogs. We got 3 of them.
If we ever could get Stokes back where he needs, if we can ever get Stokes back, healthy, I feel like the defense they're just going to get it. It's just going to get better once he gets back because we've seen glimpses, but we haven't had a chance to see him like full blown. So once you get him back healthy, I mean, they're coming along.
We're going to have a good problem when Stokes comes back.
Yeah, because
Valentine got in the game, and somebody got to tell me how he dropped to the 7th round. Something crazy must have happened that we don't know about.
Look, Green Bay has always been able to draft. Every year. The only year that I would say that I can remember recently was 2020, but that was the Love draft. And DeGuara was in that draft and all that stuff. But now it's like at least the Love part of it looks good.
We got running back in the 2nd round.
Yeah, who was it? They took AJ.
It was Dylan.
They took AJ in the 2nd round. DeGuara was taken in the 3rd. That's the draft. They didn't draft any receivers. And everybody was like, yo, what are they doing? And they were making fun. They were making fun of the Packers. I mean, the draft coverage was like, look at here. There are like 27 receivers that have been drafted. And no pals. Like, I'm sitting there looking at the TV talking about, man, why they got to keep talking about us like that? Just let it go, man. Come on, man. It was just going in.
Was that Goot's first draft or his 2nd draft?
I want to say it was. I think it was his 2nd because I think his first was in 19. I think his first was in 19. I think it was either 19 or 18. He's been there for a couple of years now, though.
Yeah.
So he's been there. He's been there for a couple of years.
You look back and it's like the regime change pretty much starts there.
From that point on?
From that point on, it was building for when Aaron was gone. Because, I mean, from the Ted guys, I think what Jones, Bach, that might, who else? I'm not sure. I think.
Yeah, Jones, Bach, that might be it. I mean, there's not a lot of people that are left on that. It's a very young Packers team. But hey, look, Packers right now, 1-0 to start the season, beating the Bears 38-20. So a good start. Now, before we move on to the next part here, was there anybody in particular in the game that you were very impressed with that we didn't talk about?
Devonte Wicks. Folks, watch how he plays coming off the line of scrimmage. And then go put on some old number 17 tapes, and you know who I'm talking about. And it is scary close how he gets off the line and gets open. And I'm just sitting there thinking to myself, like, oh, we might have another one. Because there was a few times where he just killed his man off the line and scrimmage was open and Jordan went somewhere else. And I'm like, this is going to be a problem. This is, and a round of applause for Jaden Reed. That man, he looks like he's attacking the ball when it gets to him. Like, you're not going to take this ball from me.
I'm impressed.
Like, I don't. Outside of Devonte, when's the last time we had a receiver that was just that aggressive?
I mean, it's been a while, but like I said, watching him, like I said, you know me, I've had a chance to see him up close and personal for a couple of years. And at Virginia, that year that they went to, that year that they led the nation, or Brennan Armstrong, who was a quarterback in Virginia, led the nation in passing yards, or was like top 3. Wicks was like number 1 in the ACC. He had a really good year that year. Tough year last year when they switched coaches, but he's impressive. I knew he was going to be good at the next level. Probably one of the happiest things that happened to me on draft day was seeing him go to.
You were excited.
I was like, whoa, okay. So seeing Wicks go there after being able to cover him for the last 3 or 4 years at Virginia was a good thing to see. So I feel you on that, my friend. I feel you on that.
I would know what I like, and then I'm starting to notice this. If you have a down year like your senior year, but you really did well your junior year, we will find you. I think back, and it didn't work out, but do you remember when we drafted Justin Harrell from Tennessee?
Oh, yeah, I remember.
He had a really good junior year, but then he tore his ACL, and I noticed, like, Love, great junior year, senior year wasn't great. And they do really good. They're really good with doing their due diligence. Like, okay, well, why was the senior year not as good? And if it looks like it was stuff outside of control, new coaches, new offense, come on in. We'll make it work.
I mean, look, it's a knack, and maybe it's a part of the strategy. By all means, if it's worked, I would say probably about like 80% of the time, maybe a little bit higher than that. But hey, keep it moving. You know what I'm saying? Keep it moving. I mean, so far so good in game 1. Now, before we get off of here, and once again, thanks Randall for coming on. Because look, y'all, this ain't gonna be the first time Randall comes on. He's gonna come on, quite a bit here. So, and then we'll get Deshaun on here. Eventually, I got to get with him so we can get him on here as well. That'll probably be a fun conversation once that day happens. So we're gonna have to do that. That's gonna be more of a free. That might be the bye week when we get all 3 of us on here, because it's gonna be a really that's gonna be
war games.
Yeah, it's gonna be war games. But let's talk about the elephant in the room here, and that's the injury to Aaron Rodgers. So Aaron Rodgers didn't even get 4 plays in. 4 plays in, and Aaron Rodgers tore his Achilles, out for the season. So we, the Packers will not get that first round pick. And it's funny, we talked about it so much. Just got to get to the 65%, and there it is, not happening. They didn't even get a chance to get close to it. They just said, "No, you good." And they made, so officially, the Packers get that the Jets' second round pick. Now, depending on how they could, do after this could be a good pick, and it may not be, because, I still think confidence-wise, the team is still on a high level. But it's going to be interesting to see how they bounce back, or how they approach things with Aaron being gone. So what were your thoughts when you first heard the injury, and What were you thinking about that?
So I joke a lot about how I don't like Aaron Rodgers and he gets on my nerves. I genuinely love that man as a quarterback. I love what he did for the Packers, and I love that he wanted just everybody just, care about this thing as much as I do. And I was excited. I was excited to watch him. I live, in Connecticut. I'm 30 minutes from New York. So I grew up listening to Jets games on the radio. When Favre went over, I was rooting for Favre, and I wanted to see them do well. Because I know would I love for the Packers to win the Super Bowl this year? Absolutely. Do I think it's going to happen? No, this is that growing year. If he'd have won it, I'd have been happy for him. If they'd have got there, I'd have rooted, I'd have cheered. I wanted to see him do well. I was crushed, man, because I don't want to see him go out like this.
No, it's a tough pill to swallow. I mean, yes, the pick side of it, that's whatever.
Yeah.
But I really did wanted to see him do well. I'm not gonna lie to you. The selfish part of me, December 24th, Christmas Eve, I'm supposed to be heading up to New York to watch him play. Wow. So I was supposed to be up there because the Commanders take on the Jets, and I was just like, all right, I'm gonna get to see Aaron. It's gonna sting a little bit, but I'm gonna get to see him play in that Jets uniform. And now, obviously, that won't happen. I'm still gonna go to the game, but it just won't happen now. So I don't want to see anything bad happen to anybody, and it sucks because I really wanted to see how, especially that connection him and Gary Wilson were starting to build. Like I thought that was going to be, that's going to be 17 all over again in a different form. So I thought we really want to see something special. So it sucks. So, prayers to Aaron. I hope speedy recovery. And, some people are thinking that he's going to retire. You think he retires? I don't think he does. I think he's going to give it at least one shot in New York. I think he in his mind, he owes the fans that.
I think, do you follow Justice Mosqueda on Twitter?
Mm-mm.
So I think he's probably the best, non-Packer, but he's a scout, and he loves the Packer. And he always says, Aaron Rodgers is an absolute psycho. I think he is going to try to do everything he can in his power to play again. I'm telling you, we know how to do this. He'll go to Germany to find out the latest, science thing. How can you fix my Achilles? I think he's going to try. Do I think he's going to be successful? He's 40 years old, man.
It's tough. Turns 40 this year.
It's not like he was always Tom Brady where he was taking care of himself in that way. The Packer fan of me wants to see him come back. And if he came back and he went to the Vikings and did what Favre did and whooped our butt, I wouldn't be mad because he deserves to go out at the top of his game.
I don't know if I can say that. I don't anywhere but there. Anywhere but there. I look anywhere but there. I mean, you can go anywhere else, please.
Hey, I got a coworker and she's a Packers fan, and before the news came out that it was a tear, she said, I secretly think he's faking that he's hurt so he could get released and go to Minnesota.
Oh, I tell her to stop talking like that. But that's the theory. Everybody think that's maybe at some point he goes there, but I don't think that's the case. It's a different vibe than Favre. I think Favre went there because out of whatever, just to get out
vengeance.
But he not fell in love, but he fell in love with the team. Like you can tell that they're having a good time. Like they're heartbroken. The facial expressions they were making when he was down, you can't not buy that, but you can't fake that. They were generally like, oh man, you got to be kidding me.
Yeah,
because they knew what their expectations were coming in the season when Aaron Rodgers being your quarterback. So it's Super Bowl or bust in their eyes. So speedy recovery for Aaron. Man, a second round pick it is.
A part of me wanted him to be successful in New York because we'd always have, and you had probably had to do so. We'd always have to defend him against Tom Brady lovers. And they'll say, Tom is that.
Oh yeah.
And I'd always come back to this thing Tom Brady said, and he said, if Aaron was in New England, he would throw for 5,000 yards and 55 touchdowns every year, just because of the analytics and the system we run. And I always feel like Aaron didn't get the appreciation he should have gotten. So to see him sitting courtside at Knicks games, being at Rangers games, all these fancy restaurants in New York. And I was like, there you go, Aaron. You living that life you always wanted to live. You the talk of the town. Because, they make the joke about Green Bay. Hey, you going to Applebee's, and that's it.
Yeah.
So I was happy for him. Like, you know what? You enjoy this. This is what you deserve. You feel like you are a superstar. So I hope you get that superstar treatment, and for it to be cut short like this, he deserved better, and I hope he gets to go out on top somehow, some way.
Well, look, I think he'll be back. I think he'll be, I think he'll come back stronger. I really do. I mean, it's going to be something that, he's one of those people, like you said, he's a psycho to an extent. I just can't see him like, all right, that's it, I'm done. Like the whole reason he went to New York is because he was vengeance. We're not going to act like it wasn't, like it was part of it. He wanted to get back at the Packers. He took the pay cut just to make sure that they had the pieces, just so that he could show, what he was willing to do. If they're willing to bring the pieces in. Obviously, Green Bay wasn't willing to bring the pieces in at times. That's just how the philosophy works. And you a green and gold fan, you know that's the philosophy. You know what it is. And in New York, they was like, hey man, what do you want? I want Dalvin Cook. We're gonna go get you Dalvin Cook. And that was the philosophy. Who do you want? I want Lazard. I want this person. And they went and they made sure whatever he wanted, they got. So I mean, but I still think this is a good thing for the Jets. And I know we're tailing off, but here's the thing with the Jets. I think that Aaron is going to be really good for Zach Wilson. I think he's going to help him out. And guess what? I think Aaron's still going to be there throughout the season to an extent. I think he's still going to be helping him out. And so I think it's going to really go long-term for the Jets. But there it is, Aaron Rodgers, man. He's out for the season. Cannot believe it. Absolutely shocked. I'm absolutely shocked. All right, now before we go, once again, Randall, thank you for coming on, brother, for Green and Gold over everything. And before we head over to our game preview with my man James Brown here on the LegacyMaker Sports Network, what's your prediction for Sunday? Packers, Falcons, and what's your prediction? Where do you see that thing going?
I think we win. I think they're going to bring the house on Jordan. You're not going to sit back there and be able to pick his power. But I think we win convincingly, too, because I don't trust their defense. I think they have one good corner, A.J. Darrell. They got a good safety in Jesse Bates. But I really think this is a solid win for the Packers. If we just play fundamental, run the ball, play action, Jordan. One thing I like about him, he makes his plays on third down.
Right.
I think it's a convincing win. 2-0.
There it is. You heard it from my man, Randall Burns. And look, next time, y'all, we're going to spell it the correct way because we was we're messing with the E, man. We're going to look. The E, and that's so funny because I said, Darrell, you know better. You better go on Facebook and make for sure. But and it's just, especially for somebody who gets his name destroyed. But can't wait to have you back on, brother. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on talking some Packers football. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to head on over as we get my man James Brown coming on to talk about Packers and Falcons and get the keys to see how and don't beat me up. We're going to get the keys to see how the Packers could beat the Falcons and how the Falcons could beat the Packers. Let's go ahead and get this game preview on. All right, so we're getting ready, ladies and gentlemen, for our game preview for this week. Week 2, Packers traveling down to Georgia. They said the devil went down to Georgia, but in this case, the Packers are heading down to Georgia to Mercedes-Benz Stadium to take on the Atlanta Falcons. Both teams coming into this matchup 1-0 after some pretty solid weeks on both teams' fronts. With me today, ladies and gentlemen, to help me break down this game and give it the keys to victory for both teams here, my man from the LegacyMaker Sports Network, Mr. James Brown. James, how you doing, brother?
Doing good, man. Glad to be here. Can't wait to get into our discussion for the game. I feel like it's gonna be a good one. Just excited, man. 1-0. Falcons haven't been 1-0 for a while now, so I'm just taking it in.
Just taking it in. I think it was 2016, if I'm not mistaken.
16 or 17, man. It's been a while. Honestly, I think that's the last time we had a winning record too. So hey, it's new day in Atlanta.
New day in Atlanta, and hey, look, new eras all the way around for both teams. We got a chance to see Love and I guess in some people has become the new daddy for the Chicago Bears, but it was definitely a great week for both franchises. But James, I wanted to get in here and kind of pick your brain. And on this podcast, we want to see it from both sides when it comes to the preview. So I want to know, James, your 3 keys to victory for the Atlanta Falcons. How do they beat the Green Bay Packers on Sunday?
Definitely. So, kicking things off, the strength of this Falcons team is going to be in the trenches. So it's going to be up front on both sides of the ball offensively, making sure you control the line of scrimmage, making holes for those running backs to get through, making sure Desmond Ridder stays clean in the pocket, and then defensively, getting pressure on the quarterback, stuffing the run. One of the first keys to this game for the Falcons is going to be command the line of scrimmage, make it known, make sure that, they're the aggressors and not the ones, being aggressed against. Second key is going to be running the ball and controlling the clock. The Falcons are a team where, they love to run. Last year, we were one of the more higher percentage teams when it came to that factor. Love to pound the rock. And we have 3 guys that specialize in that. You have Tyler Algier, more that bruiser back, Bijan, a guy who can do it all. And then the Joker himself, Cordell Patterson, a guy who didn't play week 1, but more likely looking to play week 2. So he's going to be fresh. He's going to have fresh legs coming into the season. Controlling that clock through the run game is going to be a big factor for the Falcons. If they can keep Jordan Love on the sidelines and tire out that Packers defense with their run game, that can ensure them a victory. And then finally, number 3, Jordan Love, while he has been in the league, this is like his 3rd or 4th season, it is his first time starting around. He's a newer quarterback when it comes to that aspect of it. And really, if you have to choose a way to, death by 1,000 cuts, let it be him throwing the ball. The Packers have a good run game with Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon, and those guys can really attack you downhill. And if you're Atlanta, that's what you want to avoid. You want to kind of turn the Packers to a one-dimensional team, force them to have to beat you with Jordan Love making throws from the pocket and on the run. If they can force him to do that and they lose, I can live with that. But if we allow them to just run all over us and then him throw all over us with the play action and whatnot, it's going to be a long day. So control the line of scrimmage, run the ball, control the clock, force Jordan Love to beat you. If Atlanta can do that, they'll be on their way to 2-0.
See, and here's the thing. I agree with you. I agree with you 100% because one of the biggest things here, you like making Jordan Love, make those winning throws to win the game is going to be crucial. Now, we got a chance to see that last week, against Chicago. He made pretty much all the winning throws you thought he could do in that game, and he looked really good. I think that's going to be critical if they can kind of force him into continuing to make those throws, because here's the thing. The Packers, even though they had a good mix last week, they want to be able to throw the football, but they want to run first. And so if you're going to force Jordan Love to run, or if they're going to force Jordan Love to throw the ball, that you're going to see a lot of that. That's where some of the pressure is going to come in. The battle of the line of scrimmage, I also agree, because last week the Packers were able to contain Justin Fields, and I would think that was the biggest thing. They were able to contain him, maybe not stop him per se, but they were able to contain him, and they forced him to do some things that he did not want to do, and the defensive line looked pretty good. I think that part was also like really, really critical. So I agree with you. I like your mindset on this, and if somehow the Packers got to figure out that running game. They got a 3-headed monster they got down there in Atlanta. It's going to be tough.
I mean, Smith schemes up that part of the offense pretty well, so I'm confident in that. We should be able to run it.
All right. So now the key to the Packers, how do the Packers go into Atlanta, second road game now, and defeat a very looks like going to be a tough, and I would say a problem at depending on a very competitive team in the NFC South and throughout the NFC in the Atlanta Falcons? Well, this is what I think has to happen. First of all, if you're Green Bay, you got to continue to keep Jordan Love upright. Now, last week, what we saw was a veteran offensive line led by 2 All-Pros in Bakhtiari and Jenkins, and they were able to help keep this young man upright. And there was a couple times that they got a little pressure on him, but for the most part, he had plenty of time to throw the football, and he had plenty of time to make things happen for Green Bay. So that is going to be critical. Do not let Jared Grady destroy you. Don't let him go to work down there. That's going to be a problem if that ends up happening there. But with that being said, keep Jordan Love upright. Secondly, control the Falcons running game. This is going to be a task within itself. trying to slow down these three backs, especially if Cordell Patterson is suiting up for sure. You're going to have to deal with those three backs. And here's the thing. Tyler was the one last week that had the 2 touchdowns. And for all those fantasy owners out there that was like, man, I'm going to hold off because it's going to be Bijan Day. Well, guess what? You can't forget that Tyler rushed for 1,000 yards last year. So it's really pick your poison. Watch out for that running game. Try to stop that Falcons running game. That is going to be critical. So Kenny Clark, Devonte Wyatt, who had a great game last week, those 2 guys are going to have to run things on the line and try to stop that Falcons running game. And then number 3, pressure Desmond Ridder at all costs. We saw what happened last week when the Packers were able to put the pressure to a young quarterback in Justin Fields, very talented quarterback in Justin Fields. And now you want to kind of do the same thing to Ridder. You want to keep him uneasy and keep that pressure on him. And I think if the Packers defense can do that, they've got a really good chance if they make him flustered to win that contest on Sunday. So, that's what I'm feeling right there. The Packers keys to victory. Definitely, though, for me, the biggest one is keeping Jordan Love upright. If you can keep him upright, I really do think he seems like he's got that grasp of the game now, or it feels like he's got that grasp of the game now that he can make plays and not just, with his own feet, with, in the passing game. I just think he can make plays. So we'll see.
I mean, definitely, man. I pretty much agree with all your keys as well. If you are the Packers have always drafted and developed offensive linemen well. Keeping Love upright is going to be a main factor. We have seen that in the past, Atlanta's pass rush has looked pedestrian at times, almost anemic. This offseason, they did attempt to revamp it, bringing in some fresh guys for rotation, some more experienced veterans. We'll see if that provides any impact, but Green Bay's offensive line has usually always been dominant. So it'll be a good test for both sides to see exactly what they do have. And then again, your running game, guys are great. Dillon's in a contract year, I believe. He's going to be looking to get paid. He might be trying to establish himself in this game. I will say when it comes to your run defense, typically that's been your Achilles heel. In the past, we've seen in the playoff runs where teams have been able to run the ball in that Packers defense, but you guys attack that through the draft and the free agency, like a Devonte Wyatt, bringing in to help a Kenny Clark. So, again, that part will be crucial. I agree with that. And, I feel like if you guys can manage to do that, Mercedes-Benz Stadium, it was rocking last Sunday. Will they show out 2 weeks in a row? I don't know. It helps that the Falcons are 1-0. That might help with that. But, it may not be as much of a home advantage if Packers fans are in there and there's loud on Sunday and they jump out to an early lead. So, that could work in your favor too, man.
Well, it's an intriguing contest because it's really 2 young teams, in my opinion, with 2 fairly new head coaches. Still yes, LaFleur had Aaron Rodgers. Let's not be like lost, but technically this is his first time really no Hall of Fame quarterback. And now you've got 2 young teams trying to find their way, getting comfortable. It's early in the season. This is a big matchup, especially people don't look at it. It's going to be a good big matchup because who knows when 7-6 seed, this game could be a critical part, especially in a division like the NFC South and the North, where people don't think they may just get one team. But if they're going to get that second team, this could be a critical game.
Definitely. I agree with that sentiment. And it's early in the season, so that's why it's even more crucial to pick it up because you don't want to have regrets later down the road where it's like, man, we were 1-1 off from making it. And well, dang it, if we'd have beat Green Bay back in week 2 or if we'd have beat Atlanta back in week 2, we'd be going on instead of going home at the end of the year. And, it could help with both of these teams squeaking in and getting that second team from the division as well. We've seen already in week 1, man, some teams that we thought were going to be on a downward spiral, looks like they're trending up. Some teams that we thought were trending up, they're trending down. So, it's week 1 was exciting, full of action. And, it just makes me even more excited for week 2 and what we're going to see.
Yeah, man, football's back. I think, I told somebody you just don't want it to go by too fast, knock on wood. I felt like last season, about week 4 happened so fast. I said, man, week 4 already? So I slowed down NFL season, man. Like we got till February. Just take your time. So but time slows down for no one. And the NFL season doesn't either. But it should be a good game. Very excited. It's going to be a 1:00 matchup on Sunday. James, why don't you let everybody know where they can find you, man? and tell them all the great things you do on the network.
So definitely, man, I would advise anybody, check out all the great stuff we have here at LegacyMaker Sports Network. You can always like, share, comment, and subscribe. Stay tuned for all of our shows we have, Legacy on Fire, Commonwealth Sports Talk, Monster Minutes. We have a lot of great programming here for all these sports and legacy heads out there. If you're looking to follow me personally, you can hit me up on Instagram at Champagne Jimmy. Follow me on Facebook, James Brown. Holla at your boy.
All right. That is it, everybody. That is episode 2 of Green and Gold Over Everything here on the LegacyMaker Sports Network.
Except Atlanta.
I like that. And it should be a really good matchup on Sunday. James, thank you for coming by. Make sure y'all check out Legacy on Fire next week. Myself and James will be on there with 2 other guests as we bring you episode 57. So once again, everybody, thank you all. This has been Green and Gold Over Everything, and even Atlanta.